So today we got the Season 6 patch notes, so we'll be going through those. There is a ton of weapon changes for both multiplayer and Warzone, so we'll be going through those and testing those live on stream a little bit later today, which is linked near the top of the description if you want to check that out. I'll probably be giving out some beta codes as well because we got that coming up. Season 6 starts today. COD Next is on the 5th, and then we have the beta a couple different weekends there, and then it leads into the haunting event. Unfortunately, the haunting event doesn't start today, which would be kind of cool to launch the season, but it is what it is. And then we have the campaign access, and then November 10th is when MW3 officially comes out. We already went over the battle pass yesterday. It is probably the best battle pass we've had to date, including Warzone 1 all the way up until today. So there's a lot of value in there. If you already have your COD points, Black Cell, they're trying to upcharge and charge people all the cosmetics. It is what it is. People spend your money how you want. So the haunting event is just around the corner. It's going to be on the 17th. They didn't want to overlap with the beta, so that'll be pushed out. We get the 2 new weapons, which should be pretty straightforward. I'm hoping they're good. We've already had an ISO variant that wasn't 9mm, so we'll see how this compares. And then we have this RAM looking gun, but it's 7.62 ammo, so it's going to behave a little bit more like the cast off 7.62. So we'll see how that plays out. Hopefully it's good as well. It's been a while since we've had a battle pass weapon that was actually good right out the gate. There's also a new attachment which sounds kind of broken. It's on the Lockwood 300. It's called the Maelstrom Dual Trigger, a cold hammer forged dual trigger that fires both rounds simultaneously with a devastating result. That just sounds broken. I don't know how that'll behave in Warzone. In multiplayer, probably going to increase the lethality range quite a bit for those one-shot kills. Weapon balancing, these are for multiplayer. The Shroud ends up getting a little bit of a nerf. Miniback increased the close distance damage as well as the damage range. Assault rifles, the cast off 7.62 gets reduced. It gets nerfed in multiplayer. FR Advancer gets more range. Battle rifles, the Cronin Squall increased the damage range. Not sure how much. Increased damage range, and range. So they just buffed the range of all the battle rifles. And then shotguns reduced the far damage range, increased the mid damage range for the Expedite, and then reduced the close damage range for the MX Guardian. The Tempest Torrent unfortunately uses sniper ammo, or this could be a lot of fun to use. Reduce close damage range, reduce close distance damage, and then reduce damage to legs. It doesn't even say limbs, so the arms are going to be a little different. Lockwood Mark II, we have increased damage range, so those kind of got buffed, and then improved sprint out time as well as the hip movement speed. SAB improved sprint out time, so they made them a little bit faster. Improved ADS, improved reduced hip spread, and then increased far damage range. All right, interesting. And then the SPR increased mid damage range. So those were all multiplayer, specifically MW2 only. And then the following weapon changes are applicable to Warzone only. So Chimera gets a damage multiplier increased on the lower torso. That's the stomach. So slight buff there. Probably not enough to make it like the meta, but it's going to get pretty interesting because of some of the other changes in here. We got the FR Advancer, limb damage multiplier increase, so it got slight buff to arms and legs. ISO Hemlock, neck damage multiplier decrease, so they actually nerfed that for that and the upper torso. So now those both got nerfed. They probably share the same damage, so they both got lowered, which is kind of a weird. Hemlock wasn't all that strong to begin with. It's like a no recoil, you know, marshmallow shooter. So people like it because you can hit your shots like the M13, but it still doesn't do a lot of damage. So I don't know what the concept is with that. 7.62 has kind of been the meta right now. We got close damage decreased, close damage range increased. So they modified it there. Head damage and neck damage decreased, and then upper torso damage decreased. So it kind of got nerfed all the way around. I don't expect that one to still be the meta if these changes are enough to kind of shift the needle on that. Which kind of opens up the door to like what is going to be the meta. Let me know what you guys think it's going to be, because that's kind of crazy. And then we got the M13B, which also gets nerfed. I know a lot of people like this one, that like lower recoil guns, but this one also got nerfed. Close, mid, close, and then mid damage decrease. So those all the up close variables, so maybe less valuable as a sniper support, but it doesn't look like it touched the far range. So this could like be the meta, maybe. M13C, close damage increase, so it got a slight buff there because it wasn't particularly good, and then limb damage increased as well, so got a buff. So they're showing a little bit of love to M13. M16, close damage range increase, lower torso damage multipliers increase, and then limb damage multipliers increase. So they're buffing the M16, but it still doesn't solve the problem. This might be good at medium range, but as soon as you get beyond a certain distance, the burst is too wide, and in Warzone the TTK is high enough where you're going to need to land a lot of shots, and M16 might not necessarily be good at doing that at range. Cronin Squall, mid damage range decrease, so just the range, not the damage values. FTAC Recon, too bad it has a tiny mag. It gets a buff all the way across, neck, torso, and limbs. Lockman 762, close damage range increase, and then neck, torso, and limb increase. I don't know why you'd buff that gun. It's pretty broken in the TTK department up close. Maybe they want more people to use it, but the recoil and it has pretty slow aim down sight. SO14, close damage range increase, close mid damage range increase. So just ranges, mid, and then far damage increase. So they increased the actual far damage. Wonder if that's enough to kick it back into the meta because it got kicked out quite a bit ago. And then we got the TAC V, close damage increased, close damage range increase, which is kind of crazy because it was pretty good in that area. I wonder how much they increased the range. And then close mid damage range also increased, so that'll push it all the way up to its furthest range. Basilisk, close mid damage increase, so they're buffing it. Mid damage increase, mid far damage increase, and then far damage increase. So they buffed it all the way across. Basilisk, wonder how that works with snake shots. And then we have the FTAC Siege, head damage multiplier decreased, so a slight nerf. Lower torso damage multiplier increased, or decreased rather. On the GS Magna, too bad it has a tiny mag as well. Close damage decreased, so they kind of nerfed it. Close mid damage increased, so the second damage drop off is a little bit better. Upper torso multiplier decreased, so slight nerf overall. And then damage multiplier also decreased on the limbs, so you got to be more accurate. P890, mid damage increased, far damage increased. Interesting. As well as lower torso, limbs also. So they kind of buffed the P890 all the way across the board. X12s also get a little bit of buff all the way across the board for neck, torso, limbs, and close mid damage. The Daemons, which are the brand new pistols that were just added with the last season, neck damage, torso, and arm damage decreased, so it got a nerf. Then we have the Deagle, which it got close damage, mid damage, and far damage, so it got a buff all the way across. Shotguns, close mid damage range increased. They actually buffed the Bryson. Cool. Bryson 890, close damage decreased, so slight nerf, 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 and nerf. Lockwood 300, lower torso multiplier increase, and then lower damage multipliers increase. So that one's slight buff on the Lockwood. And then the MX Guardian, close damage range increase, close mid damage range increase, mid damage increase, mid. Okay, I'm not a fan of that, but we'll see how it goes. The Karak 300, which doesn't really get much use. Close mid damage increase, far damage increase, lower torso damage multiplier increased, and then limb damage multiplier increase. So I don't know if they're trying to make this compete for the signal because it just didn't do enough damage before. Hopefully this does enough damage. And then we got the neck damage multiplier decreased as well as the upper torso damage multiplier decreased. So they nerfed the signal 50 after the World Series of Warzone. Interesting play. SPX 80, close damage range increase, close mid damage range increased, and then mid damage range increase. Upper torso damage multiplier also increased. I'm not sure that will even matter. Submachine guns, we get Bass P, neck damage so it gets buffed. Torso damage multiplier increase. So Bass P, it was on the border of being like pretty competitive. I know some people were liking it, but this should hopefully push it in line. We'll see how that goes. Fennec, close damage increased again. They're buffing it. They're really trying to thread the needle. The Fennec has been buffed like 4 patches in a row now. And we get a buff neck damage multiplier decrease. So you got to get headshots. That's kind of the goal. And then the upper torso damage decrease. So it's kind of like some trade-offs here. Since this one goes up and these ones go down, Some of the damage values might be the same, but overall the headshot damage is going up because you get the multiplier higher and the damage being increased. So it just might mean that you need more headshots to get a faster TTK. Lockman Shroud, semi-auto damage decrease. So people really weren't using this thing. It was pretty broken if you could reach the trigger cap, which was kind of a no small feat. It was pretty difficult to do. And now it's probably not even worth using at all in terms of semi-auto. Burst Fire might be better though, because you get the increased multiplier for the head, neck, and upper torso. That could make it a little bit better. Minibok, mid damage increased. All right, we want close damage increase, please. MX9 doesn't have a problem with damage. It has a problem with mag size, but it also receives a buff all the way across the board. Then there's a few different bug attachments there. Progression, you're going to be able to go up to 1250 and get this milsim operator. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this milsim. Me in particular, it looks a little plain, but I know some people do like this style. So more power to you. Go ahead and grind out the levels if you're enjoying the game like that. Bunch of bug stuff. And it says downloads. The season update download file size will be larger than our normal seasonal updates, as it includes all of season 6 content. So we're going to get some probably leak stuff because people data mine from the mid-season that drops on the 17th. And it says, as well as preparing for upcoming MWII beta. So I don't know how that's going to work. If we're downloading some stuff related to that, it'll be kind of interesting that they're on the same client, right? Note, PC players, users will require additional space on their hard drive for the patch. Copying process is only temporary. All right, that'll work. And then Spec Ops, there's some bug fixes. New maps for multiplayer, which great. They're getting new maps. They're recycling some content, but I think we're looking ahead to MW3 when it comes to multiplayer, besides just leveling and unlocking stuff, right? And then we got MW2 rank. They have those things. They added the new weapons restricted to that. So it's going to be just like rank from last season. You get some different rewards. Pretty straightforward. Here's the playlist for this week. Ranked Al-Mazra's Trios. I really wish Trios was normal pubs because Trios is generally my favorite mode. But it gets ruined because I don't really want to play ranked. We got quads, and then Vondel duos, and then solos is the map rotation where it bounces back and forth. Resurgence, we got Vondel quads, and then the map is solo duos trios. It doesn't say what the rotation is. We don't know if Fortress is along with Ashika and Vondel or how that works. We'll see once the playlist loads up. We still gonna have Armored Royale for quads, and then we do have Plunder for quads as well. So pretty straightforward there. Champions Quest, if you are into getting the nuke, they added a new assault rifle blueprint called the Flow Through. Signal Intelligent contract, this contract has been re-enabled. They added it and then they took it away. And they reduced the number of contracts to hack down to 2. Supply box loot behavior. We've improved the behavior and visibility of additional loot that drops on the ground out of supply boxes. I don't know what that means. How do they do that? Hopefully we go back to floating loot. Especially with the next iteration in integration. Buy station limited row. So PRD has been replaced with the medic plate carrier, which costs 4,000. So they want everyone to have a medic plate. And then we have the reinforcement flare price has been increased to 7,000. That's a good change. They really need to rework how the reinforcement flare works, in my opinion. It lasts way too long, and there's too many of them in game. Warzone rank, pretty much there. They have the restrictions. They go through all of that. And you'll be able to get your individualized rewards. So straightforward. You should also get access to the camo if you had grinded it last season. DMZ. You get the Haunting event, which we'll find out more details on the 17th. So probably around that time, we'll get some more detailed patch notes that explain all the nuances and details of that. They've also adjusted a ton of the buy station cost. I guess people have a lot of cash because it looks like all of these were raised up. A UAV from 12,000 up to 100,000 advantage. Yeah, that just seems crazy, but I'm sure people that have their wallets stacked in the game, they'll be able to buy that stuff. Players can now use their own dog tags to barter in DMZ. Oh, that's pretty good. That helps with that newer camo. We got hostages no longer be dropped on dirt bikes. Hostages will now be extracted in drivable exfil helicopters. Reduce the frequency of kill streaks loot. All right, cool. Pretty straightforward. Surviving a hunt contract now grants a UAV immediately to the hunted squad. A lot of weapon changes. Not sure what's going to come out on top, but we'll find out later today. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.